DJ and PK, it's 97.5 The Zone. Pablo Mastroeni, RSL head coach, going to join us momentarily here. Ready for a weekend of football, PK?
No.
It starts tonight, Tulsa and Oklahoma State. Can you get into that?
Oklahoma State, see how bad they are.
You've given up on Oklahoma State.
Not yet.
Iowa, Rutgers. Oh, back to your Jersey roots, man. Rutgers is 3-0 playing at home. You ever go to a Rutgers game when you lived back there?
I did not.
Not even one.
I knew an extended family friend who played for Rutgers, and they came out to play Colorado, and Pablo would know about this. They came out to play Colorado, and he kept hearing about the altitude. He was on the kickoff team. He thought he was going to die when he ran on the kickoff team.
That's classic. DJ and PK, we're joined now by Pablo Mastroeni, RSL head coach. Pablo, good morning.
Good morning, guys.
Pablo, you got to bounce back, and I was amazed in the postgame. It felt to me like you were already in bounce-back mode, setting the tone for the team. There was a little lamenting of what happened in the 4-1 loss, but I was already feeling the turning of the page and I don't think this is a word, the upbeatedness. Was that your nature, or was that thinking, this is my job in this moment, this is what the team needs?
No, I think it's a little bit of both, right? I think looking at the game and the way we wanted to attack it, I think the guys executed it really well. I think it came down to a couple details, knowing that they're a team that wants to get out on the break, and so we just had to make better decisions in those moments. I think the frustrating part, again, where I'm saying like 95% of the game went the way we wanted it to go, and the 5% were two throw-ins in the first half where we didn't defend it the right way, which is, it's pretty rudimentary stuff, right? And you got to either clear the ball or foul in the middle midfield because, again, we're holding a high line against a team that thrives getting in behind the high line, right? And then you go back to the third and the fourth goal that we conceded, and those were individual decisions that led to breakaways. And those are those type of breakaways you see in like, youth soccer. You don't really see those at the professional level. And so, again, just we're right there. I feel like overall, I look at I felt the game on the field. I looked at the stats and, beating, getting all the metrics on our side, creating the chances that we did. And now you can eliminate those four opportunities in the game. And I feel like we would have won that game, but that's not what the game of soccer is. And so I was upbeat in the way we attacked the game. Obviously disappointed with the goals that we conceded because, again, I think going from 2-1 and we're still in the game to now 4-1, it looks like the score doesn't reflect the type of performance that we had. And so we had a great video session yesterday, and I think the upbeatedness is like you've got to be positive, you got to find the silver lining. But in this case, I think it was right in our face, and the areas that we need to improve in is right in our face as well.
With that in mind, then, the fact that you're literally playing the same team and you point out the mistakes and so forth, is that something that you're looking forward to be able to – you want to correct mistakes, obviously, all the time, but the fact that you're playing against the same team, it seems like you would have a little maybe, at least from a player perspective, a little extra juice, gusto to make sure you get it right this time.
Yeah. No, I think you're right, PK. I think, the idea is how quickly can we put these corrections in get them going in real time. And then, obviously having a game 4 days after the last one allows it to do that. And the other part too is like, LAFC is an aggressive team. They're going to be more aggressive at home, right? Both in the way they attack, but also in the way they battle for loose balls and duels. And I think, as a group, we got to be more physical in the way we approach things, and doing it in the right way. So I'm excited, because again, from the feeling that I have on the field is, the way we made some tactical adjustments at halftime, and the guys were able to put more pressure on LAFC's build, and from that created just a slew of opportunities. We tilted the field in our favor. So there's a lot of things that I'm really optimistic about moving forward. But we've got to make sure that we got to understand who we are. We're a team that plays with a really high line. The guys in the back have to be spot on 100% of the time. You cannot get it wrong once. And so we talked about the different decision-making processes that you have to go through in order to make sure that you're helping the team keep zeros, because again, I think it's unfair. At the end of the day, Rafa's been, the stalwart in goal and our leader in the group, and he, and the way he feels is like he conceded 4 goals, but the truth is we got to do a better job as a group in front of him to make sure we keep zeros against a really good team.
In an average game, teams tend to get 4, 5, 6 corners. You will see teams get 7, 8, or 9. You had 12. That is, that goes to how much you had the ball in the attacking third and how much they were under pressure. But your point about decisions, you were saying after the game, it could have been a 2-1 game if guys had just fouled. And they held you to 1 goal because when they got in trouble, they just kept giving up corners and they defended corners well. Can you earn that many corners on the road? Do you think it'll be a different style of game? And if so, what can you do to finish them?
Yeah, I think it's different when you go away from home. Yeah. I think you have to earn the right to get to that part of the field. But our mentality, like what I'm telling the guys, is we've got nothing to lose here. So if we don't go out with the same type of mentality, the same type of energy, then we're letting ourselves off the hook here. Like, this is not okay, And so that's what I want to see. That's what I'm optimistic about, is to be able to get pressure on them. And to, again, just give the group the belief and the confidence that, hey, I don't care what happens. We're going to try to do the same thing that we did at home, but we need everyone on board. We need to press, release our outside backs. We're going to be 1v1 at the top, but we have great center backs that can deal with that. And then if we do get in that position where we have multiple corner kicks, we're looking at obviously a short option. But again, I think what they have is a really good. Their 3 center backs are really robust in the air, and there were some really good chances. Again, I think the timing of our runs need to improve a little bit. But I think we'll look at some short options to try to throw them off a little bit. The only problem with short options is now you get like Luonga and Son coming out to deal with the short options. And if it's played short, now you're leaving a ton of space behind you. So it's a cat and mouse game. But we'll look at a couple things to try to, hopefully execute and create a goal-scoring opportunity from a set piece.
You used the word rudimentary, and then you said youth soccer, and that's sort of you could view that as, and I know you've been very positive here, but as damning in a sense. Was it just a lack of focus? What do you attribute that to those things having them happened?
Yeah, again, it's just this. For me, it's like when especially as a center back, right? You have to understand that. Is this the moment to pass the ball, or is this the moment to try to put it over AFS field? Mm-hmm. Like, there's got to be a sense of danger. So, in other words, what I'm saying about the reference to youth is you're playing the game because it's a game and you love to play the game, and I'm playing the tactics of the game because that's. But at the professional level, it's killed or be killed, right? You're either winning or you're losing, and so. This moment is more than just a tactical application or a technical application. This moment is this moment defines the competitive nature of the sport. So if I am the last center back and I don't clear the ball well, then if I'm not aware that I need to boot this thing out because I got Son running at me or I have Luonga running at me and I don't have a pass available, then I don't care what anyone says about my decision. I'm going to do the best for the team. Right. And I think that's the more professional way to deal with these situations, as opposed to saying we have to play out of everything because we're a team that plays. And so just not understanding the enormity of that moment is what I'm referring to. Yeah. Is this just decision making, and I think those last 2 goals, it was almost like we were surprised by the fact that we were going to be man to man in the back. And then the decisions that we made thereafter led to 2 goals in the back of our net. And so there's a common rule in football, especially when you're a defender. It's you have to win the man, you have to win the ball, or you have to get the man. But you can't do neither. Like, in other words, you can't go into a tackle and let the ball get out of the play or the man get out of the play. And that's just fundamental professional football. Like, you got to make a foul, get your team behind the ball, or you got to win the ball clear. And so these are decisions that pros have to make in split seconds. It's not easy, right? So those are, again, we're talking about the finer aspects of the game and the level of experience you need to be able to make all those decisions in real time to help your team win.
A lot of coaches don't like to give away their starting 11, and I get that. And a lot of fans can figure it out. Everybody can figure out you're going to start Olatunji, except now you can't because he got the red card. So there's a lot of options there. And although you could tell us who you're going to start, that'd be great. But if you don't, the guys who are in consideration, kind of their strengths and weaknesses and what you're weighing. If Agata comes in, that's kind of bring the guy off the bench you tend to bring in as a sub anyway, in a kind of a like-for-like situation. But you maybe change the formation. If you brought Diogo in, you could play Diego Luna in the middle and just go with one striker up top. But is Cruz that guy? Does he have the nose for goal? What are you weighing there? There's probably a couple other options you could do too. What are you thinking? What are you balancing here?
Well, I think first, I think it's, going back to last game and what kind of gave us the ability to impose ourselves on the game with the ball. And I think that's having three guys on the front line that are always threatening their back line, right? So, again, when you're playing against five, what we're trying to always do is pull their five out. So whether it's our fullback being a little bit deeper so their wing back comes, and then Diego being a little bit deeper so their outside center back comes. Now we have three guys on the back line, which is 3 for 3 on the back line, which is advantage us, right? So I think, going up against this team, I think if we have a lot of players playing off that back line, we'll get a lot of east to west possession, but we'll never create the amount of chances that we created in this last game. So I think that's first and foremost is what are we trying to achieve? And then looking at our group and saying, who gives us that type of attack? Because, again, we played with 2 10s earlier in this year with 1 9, and we've done a lot of great ball possession stuff. We were toothless in front of goal, right? So I think that just explaining it like that, I think kind of lends itself to making sure that we have a minimum of 3 guys on the highest line that are willing to get threatening behind. Because when you do that, now Diego Luna has space in front of that back line to operate and do his thing. If Diego's one of those guys that's supposed to be on the front line and he peels off, now we have 2, and they're 3 against 2. They're experienced back line. They're a real formidable back line. We're not asking any questions, and it makes it really difficult to get in behind their block. So, like you said, we have a couple options on in terms of replacing Victor. I think Gozo's done a fantastic job. And Juan is another guy that I think does a little bit of both. He understands when to play between the lines, but he can also threaten the back line. And so we'll look at some things in the next couple of days, but more than likely, it'll look a lot like it was last game, which is where we have 3 guys threatening in the back line.
DJ was raving about that 18-year-old scoring that goal. Pretty excited about what he can do now and what is to come, I would imagine.
He's been awesome. Gozo's been steadily improving, working on his craft every day, and now he scores a goal like that. I mean, his confidence should be going through the roof. And obviously, all the little things he does for the group, against the ball has been tremendous. So again, he's leaving with the U20s after this game. I'm sure he's going to have a fantastic tournament. So he's living. Both him and Luna, year after year, doing some amazing things, and I think from a club perspective, it's just there's a lot of pride in these guys coming into the group and really growing their game and expressing themselves, and both have been not just good attacking players, but attacking players with a bit of swagger and sense of belief in themselves and how they're helping our team has been tremendous. So. I'm really optimistic about Gozo's future, and we're going to need him this game to come up with a play like he did the last game as well.
The other day I was out and I saw it must have been about a 10-year-old girl, and she had an RSL jersey, and I was actually riding my bike, and as I approached her, she was in the park, and she turned around and she had it was a Luna jersey, and she's about 10-year-old. I thought that was really cool.
Yeah. That's awesome. I mean, I think, and that's how it is when we go away to games, PK. After games, it doesn't matter where we're at. There's a crowd of like 100 people waiting for Luna's autograph. So it's pretty amazing to kind of relive that side of the game. Obviously, I never had that type of following in my career. I wasn't fortunate enough, but to kind of go back to when I was a player and just imagine myself, being in Luna's shoes and now Gozo's shoes is it's a pretty special time to be these guys.
Last thing before I let you go. This is it's a fan thing, but then the more I thought about it, I thought this is a coach thing for Pablo too. So Gozo's throwing himself at that ball, which, and you always say you got to be brave, there's 3 defenders around him. There's a lot of stuff that could have happened, and he ended up scoring a great goal. I don't know if you've looked at Noel Caliscan's response. Did you notice that on film? I didn't notice it at first, and someone pointed it out to me.
Did he grab his head? I think
he puts 2 hands up to his head like, I did not just see that. No. I mean, it's like an internet meme. It actually reminds me of a really popular meme, and it could be one, except it's such a wide shot. I mean, he was clearly completely amazed in that moment. But the other thing I thought is, given where he plays, he's right in front of the goal. If that isn't hit with such authority and such power, and if it's saved, if it's parried away, he's there for the tap in. And you've been preaching, get guys forward. I thought that was an interesting place for him to suddenly pop up. You would expect him to be a little more upfield, but instead he's just a few yards in front of the goal.
Yeah, no, I think again, there's so many things from this game, and that in particular, pivots being in positions. I think he gets the ball from Ojeda, who's also in the box. And so, again, we're holding a really, really high line, and the guys in the back have a really tough task, but they're fully capable of achieving that, right? And I think, getting those guys in those positions to score goals, and that's what I really liked about this game, DJ, was, again, they present challenges with their block, but our ability to navigate and create pressure by putting players in the seams of their block to really ask some questions, and then having guys on the high line to be able to play down the sides of them, play through the back 3 was really, really good. And so, that's what I'm anticipating, is the same type of performance where we're able to impose ourselves on the game. Obviously, game to game, everything changes, but there's a lot to take away from that game, and in particular that goal, having so many players in and around the goal. I think there was 6 or 7 players in the box. And obviously that's going to stress your back line, and that's going to ask some real questions. But I believe we have a group that can overcome those challenges, and we're going to throw it all out at LAFC on Sunday.
Pablo, thanks for the time. We appreciate it.
All right, guys. Thank you.
Pablo Mastroeni, RSL head coach, join us right here on The Zone. When we come back, everything you missed in this show next. Stay with us.